Okay, I shall continue. There are no messages. No.
Okay, Dr. Kachani, thank you very much for giving me an
Yes,
opportunity.
sir.
I
I'm
would
so
like
sorry.
to ask all the participants, whoever wants to, you guys have to speak up. All the junior lecturers, I know it's not uh, it's not a very good thing to keep quiet. So you keep asking questions. It could be in English, Telugu, Hindi, whichever the language. Uh, on Indian constitution, why it is important, because this is the basic law of the land. So we all must know. Once you know, only then you can actually, not that not that you people do not know the Indian constitution, but the Indian constitution is approached by a professional like Dr. Kachani Juneja Sharma. She has a PhD in law from Punjab University, and she has been teaching in many other forums also. And also, she is heading our one of the important centers called Center of Excellence on AI for Human Security. So she is ready to interact with you. Please raise your hand. She is the host. She can give you a chance. Unmute your mic so you can ask a question on yesterday or stock also, or today's stock also. Unless and until you speak up, we don't get that energy and that enthusiasm to proceed further. Please speak up. 10 minutes to all the participants. We wanted to make it, we wanted to encourage you more and more. Please.
Yes. Any questions? Any interactions? I cannot even see any questions in the chat box. If you are afraid to ask, you can always write.
Yeah, I can see Rehana Begum Madam, Reshma Devi Garu, Sainath Garu on the screen, and Principal Jetcherla also. I think there are so many others, but uh, please ask, interact, because unless and until you ask, it's not easy for the even for the speaker also to proceed, because it should be the two-way thing.
So 200 people have already been the participants, and there are no questions,
Yeah.
no queries at all.
And it will come. It will come. Maybe uh, see. You can ask in Hindi, English, Telugu.
Yes,
Uh,
please.
you know,
Any language.
if anybody can speak Punjabi, Madam is from Punjab. She can ask her also in Punjabi. One important thing I have to tell you all. I know it's very important to know the background. Madam's husband, sir, is right now additional collector Nalgonda, Sri Rahul IAS, sir, 2017 batch. Very nice human being. So sir also is going to talk to you very soon. Maybe because of his other prior commitments with the government, he is not able to come today. Maybe on 4th of May or some, or before, he will speak 1 hour on how did he write the exam, how did he clear the exam, and what kind of challenges he faced in his personal and professional life to manage everything. You see, as an additional collector or a collector, it is the most toughest time to be in the government, the toughest time ever. See, See, we are actually fighting India's second freedom struggle against the coronavirus. The first freedom struggle we fought against the British, so we successfully we could win over.
Absolutely, sir.
Now we are fighting the second freedom struggle. So all of us have to be very united and very spirited. And please do not think in the pandemic times why this kind of online class and all that, because see, we have to tell the virus, we have to tell the enemies. Some are visible, some are invisible. We have to tell our partner, our neighbors also, like China, that you cannot defeat us with any kind of virus or any kind of thing. So I think that's the most important underlying theme is we have to be united, we have to be together as a team and put up a spirit, great spirit, that nothing can stop us. If our intentions are pure, the whole universe will help us to make it big. In a way, you are the most important ambassadors, all the lecturers, whoever is listening, because you are going to make or break the career of so many thousands of children, and you will definitely make them very good citizens and very empowered citizens, because you yourself have shown that courage and that enthusiasm to participate. This itself is a testimony. I know how many challenges you are facing at home or at work. Your near and dear one are not well, and including in my family, there are so many relatives. So we are all going through that pain, personal pain and suffering. But still, हम आगे कदम रखेंगे, हम दिखा देंगे दुनिया को, हम एक साथ में काम करके क्या पा सकते हैं इस देश का जो भी है अभी मुसीबत, उससे हम कैसे बच के आगे निकलना है, पूरा दुनिया को दिखाना ये वक्त है, ये सही टाइम है। इसलिए थोड़ा स्पिरिटेड रहिए, आप थोड़ा सा आवाज बाहर निकाल के थोड़ा सा बात कर लीजिए, मैडम से बात कर लीजिए, क्वेश्चंस पूछ लीजिए, not necessarily from the Indian Constitution or any other subject also. You can ask about international law, also international criminal court, international court of justice, or any other thing. We want you to speak up. That is important, please.
So I have a few questions on the chat box. I'll be addressing them one by one. So the first thing is that are there any articles regarding NEP 2020? So National Education Policy 2020 is again in consonance with our right to educational right. That is again a fundamental right, Article 21A. However, this NEP is currently, this NEP 2020, National Education Policy, is somehow silent upon right to education, that is to provide free and compulsory education to the children, the elementary education to children from ages from 6 to 14. It has been silent and there has been a lot of debate in regards to that. So another question, what is meant by writ? So I just discussed writs hereby means that Article 32 and Article 226 provides us with constitutional remedies, which are actually, however, the fundamental rights are enforceable in the courts of law. That we can, if there is any arbitrary use or if there is infringement, rather we call it, if our fundamental rights are taken away from us, then comes the writ jurisdiction, then comes the constitutional remedies. And these writs, as I have just discussed, certiorari, prohibition, habeas corpus, etc., these are called writs, and these are actually ways to achieve the fundamental rights if they are not provided to us. So another question is why we need reservation in education system. Again, it's a very debatable question. I would rather not comment upon it directly because the reservation policy has been, again, on the basis of intelligible referentia, it has been in continuation since we had a constitution in power. And in order to uplift that segment of society which was actually not having equal opportunity or not having equal rights, so it is another way of having, as we have the fundamental rights, in order to uplift the weaker sections of our society. That is how and why we need reservations in education system as well. So another question by Aisha is that, as we know, our constitution is one of the lengthiest constitutions. May I know what are the sources of our constitution? So I will be giving you a note upon the constitutional law, and there I'll be providing you the various provisions. And it is important, as I have started discussing with you, I have been pointing out that this part has been taken from British Constitution, this part has been taken from the Irish Constitution. So it is amalgamation of various uh, good provisions or best provisions from all over the constitutions of the world. So the basic sources are various world constitutions which we have imbibed. For example, directive principles of state policy. I was just discussing, it has been taken from the Irish Constitution, right? The equality clause from the American Constitution. So there are various sources or various other constitutions which from where we have tried to incorporate the best provisions for our own constitution. So another question by Venkatesham is that what are the main parts we have to focus in the Indian Constitution for UPSC exams? So I'll be just discussing the major parts only with you. Rest you need to consult the syllabus which you are following up for UPSC exams. I am not a good person to ask about the syllabus. I'll be discussing the relevant and important areas of the Constitution, but for the syllabus, the UPSC, you can go through the syllabus which is provided at the UPSC website. And then we have explained different tribunals in Indian Constitution. So there are no tribunals in Indian Constitution. I would rather say tribunals are bodies or specialized agencies which are basically made in order to adjudicate the matters of specialization. For example, the tribunals are actually made for special cases, while to adjudicate for the judiciary. They are provided for administrative work, they are provided for judicial work. So that is quasi-judicial as well as quasi-administrative function as well. Clear? For example, if I have to say there are special courts for family courts are being built. There are special tribunals for labor laws. So these are for a few examples of tribunals. And they are, you can say, lower to the higher court or the Supreme Court in authority. But they are there to aid and help in adjudicating the matters in a specialized way. We also have, for example, consumer forums. It is again a different level of tribunal. So can you explain Right to Information Act? Yes, I will be discussing that topic in my further conversation. I'll be coming back to this topic as well. Right to information, as of now, you need to know that it is yet another right that we can exercise, that we have a right to know what is the functioning of the government and how it has to function. And we can just write a note to a particular department. We can write our questions and adjudicate our matter to a particular department, and that department has to respond us in the purview of right to information. This is the very basic meaning of right to information. And we have a complete act, that is Right to Information Act 2005, which talks about the right to be informed and right to have knowledge in regards to the governance of our country. Ma'am, there is any way to bring back the loan money taken by Vijay Mallya and other people who took the loan and ran away? So yes, we do have the way, and we will be functioning it according to the procedures of ICJ. And there are matters being discussed. I want to know about CAA and NRC still to be implemented in India after the pandemic. And other is, ma'am, UPSC, what are the areas to be covered from this constitution? Please let me know. Um, CAA and NRC, again, a very debatable topic. I would rather not comment upon it because it is, again, an amendment procedure. It has to be implemented. Right now, it is being implemented as well. Who were proposed? The preamble was actually the idea of the Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru. So I have so many questions. I don't even understand. Like there are no connect. What under which article does domestic violence fall? Domestic violence, as in you're talking about, it is not under the constitution, but it does come under the purview of Article 21 somehow. But we do have another act, that is Domestic Violence Act against that is Protection of Women Against Domestic Violence Act 2005, which is actually in relation to the family law, criminal law, as well as civil law. If there is any domestic violence which is being inflicted upon the person, especially a woman, in a domestic relationship with a man or other person living in a family, there could be a complaint through that Domestic Violence Act 2005, and that person could be jailed also. So you want to know about national emergency. National emergency, I'll be touching upon the state emergency, national emergency, financial emergency in the later topics, in the later conversation. It is basically when there is some, you can say, point of sovereignty of our nation which is in a problem, then there could be a national emergency which could be declared. And thereafter, I have another question. Is there any article about recruiting temporary employee in government sector? What are the measurements to be followed? Temporary employees in government sector. So this is more into labor laws and not directly linked to the constitution. Particular article is, again, there is no article as such. I don't think. There is just labor laws which are in regards to recruitment of temporary employees in government sector. So many online apps are there. Is it useful for civil services? Yes, if you follow a few online applications or even online websites, you could get help for your civil services examinations. Can you explain about Berubari case? Yes, Berubari case is yet again important case in regards to whether preamble is a part of constitution or not. I have already discussed regarding that. Yes, it is a very important part of the constitution, but it is not enforceable in any court of law. Better book for Indian constitution. So as regards to UPSC, I think Lakshmikant book is a good book. And if you want to have, then another purview is P.N. Bakshi. And for constitutional law as an optional subject, if you have an UPSC, then I would suggest either D.D. Basu, even Naresh Kumar is good for authors. I'm naming the authors for various books. So why are writers received other countries' articles suitable? I don't understand this question. Why are writers received other countries' articles? Is it suitable to our country's structure and nature? Yes. As we know, we took out the best of the world constitutions, and we took out the major parts of those articles so that it could be implemented in our own country, and it was again, for better governance of the country. And of course, they're suitable. That is why they have the whole constitution of some country did not copy, but we did try and took all the relevant important points from various other constitutions and incorporated in our constitution. So another question, can you please guide the info on how to prepare for CLAT, NALSAR? As we to guide our students, we need to know much more courses too. So in regards to the preparation of CLAT, if it is CLAT 5-year law, if you have to be very particular about the strategy you have to follow. Again, there are various parts to CLAT while you're giving the statistics, the mathematics, the science, and social science and everything. You need to go through the website of CLAT and download the syllabus for the CLAT. And also NALSAR is one of the part of the CLAT consortium. So if you want to prepare for NALSAR, again, CLAT is another level of entrance, and you need to prepare for that in accordance to, if you want to know about more courses, I don't understand the courses, or you want to know about the more examinations you could do. There are various other examinations like AILET for New NLU Delhi. They have a specific entrance for themselves. And we also, there is various other states which have entrance tests in regards to preparation of admissions to law. And also there are a few good colleges, they have special entrance for their own, you can say. And also a few colleges also take CLAT score as the relevant score for the admissions. Then we have another question, in between Parliament and Supreme Court, which one is great? So I assume that you are talking about the supremacy either of judiciary or the legislature. So there is a constant conflict between who is superior to who in regards to the supremacy. But in regards to Parliament and Supreme Court, if we say Parliament is the lawmaking body and has to make the legislation, and Supreme Court is the adjudicating body who has to interpret those laws, whether they are in consonance to the Constitution of India or not. And if they are not, it is held to be unconstitutional. So there is no supremacy, or there is a check. The principle of checks and balances is basically involved in this particular controversy, or in the check of the supremacy. As preamble is already amended once, so does it mean it can be amended again? Yes, with changing times and need, it could be amended again as and when required, keeping in mind the very important idea or the concept of doctrine of basic structure. Again, same question, national emergency I've just discussed. In some cases, preamble is a part in the Constitution, in some cases it's not. What is the final conclusion? It's a part or not? Again, I have discussed it is a part of the Constitution, but it is not enforceable in the courts of law, or it is not justifiable. It could be taken as a help, taken as a cue to find if there is some confusion in regards to interpretation of a particular provision of the Constitution. The preamble could be taken as a help to interpret that, but it cannot be made to be justifiable in the courts of law. So it is a very relevant part, but it is not justifiable in the court of law as fundamental rights could be, for example. So another question is how to use poor people our law system. I don't understand this question. Can you please elaborate? I'll take up this later. Why Article 370 has been implemented in Kashmir? Is it correct to do so? So Article 370 was implemented way back while there was, renunciation, you can say the reconciliation of the states happening. So it was, at that moment, it was to protect the rights of the people living in that vicinity, because they had a choice either to join Pakistan or to join India. So Indian Constitution gave them Article 370 in order to make the state of Jammu Kashmir part of India. Now, since it has been abrogated and the state of Jammu Kashmir has become a union territory as Jammu and Kashmir and Leh and Ladakh. So, is it correct or not? Again, there is a very big debate upon this idea, because on the very onset of the implementation of Article 70, that was that the state of Jammu Kashmir would be self-reliant, self-sufficient, and would not be governed as per the whims and fancies of the central government, would rather have a separate governing system of their own, would have a different penal code of their own, and will be managed by their people only. In a way, that was correct while it was implemented, but with time, it was giving special status to them. And with time, it has been eradicated or abrogated by now. So this question is still a debatable question.
Dr. Kachani,
Yes, ma'am.
you are doing an excellent job. Can you?
Sir, there are
can you
already
please
45 more questions in the log.
I know, I can understand. That's why we'll ask. Someone has raised their hand, like that Anjaneyulu.
Okay.
Sir, Anjaneyulu, sir. Yeah, Anjaneyulu. I think
Yes,
I could see that.
Yes, I
yes, please,
have
sir. Please,
asked
sir.
him to unmute.
Yeah.
Good afternoon, ma'am.
Good afternoon, sir.
Sir, आप कैमरा भी ऑन कर लीजिए सर. अनिल सर, कैमरा ऑन है, చూద్దాం.
Yes, sir. Okay,
నమస్తే.
మ్యామ్ నమస్తే సార్. మన దేశంలో చాలా మంది బ్యాంకుల నుంచి చాలా బిజినెస్ మ్యాగ్నెట్స్ లోన్స్ తీసుకొని దే ఆర్ ఎస్కేపింగ్ ఫ్రమ్ అవర్ ఇండియా, బట్ ఇంగ్లాండ్ ఈస్ గివింగ్ షెల్టర్ దెమ్. హ్యావ్ ఇట్ బి ఎనీ కైండ్ ఆఫ్ ఇంటర్నేషనల్ లాస్ టు హ్యాండ్ ఓవర్ టు ఇండియా?
ఓకేనండి, అంతేనా?
And then
can you help me with the question?
Sorry.
I'll
Most of the business magnates, they are taking crores of rupees from our Indian banks, and they are escaping from India to other country without paying that money. But in the matter of the poor people, banks are following strict rules. But what about them, business magnates? Haven't we any provision?
So we do have extradition law for that purpose, but again, it would to follow the procedure thereof. And it has been, again, if for example, it was just another question in the question log in the chat box in regards to Vijay Mallya. So there is already a lot of financial crimes he has done in India as well as worldwide. And again, there has been prosecution for that same, and the extradition law is in function for that.
And one more question, ma'am. Why we are not getting from England immediately? Why that England is protecting them?
I don't why England is
protecting them. Means they are giving England is giving shelter to them, such kind of persons. Why
so
they are
again,
not handling to us?
According to extradition law, if a person allows a shelter, asks for shelter from other country, because again from a foreign state, it has to forego a particular points, that again there would be dual criminality, there will be again procedure established by law comes into picture. So they have to go about the laws of their country as well, and again ensure a fair trial.
Okay, ma'am. And why this Indian banks are not taking verification? Means such kind of persons in the matter of such kind of persons.
So again, we do lack a strict international law in regards to that. Our international law is still very, very weak in its truest of senses. And there is no treaty, if we talk about this case in particular, Vijay Mallya case, there is no particular treaty which is existing between the two countries, England and India. in regards to treating such a dual criminal person in regards to that. So they have to provide them the shelter in regards to their policies, and until and unless the charges are proved there, then the person would be can be transferred to this India thereafter.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you.
Now, just to add one important recent item appeared in the newspapers. Anil Garu,
Sir.
And others, the extradition of numerous embezzlers booked under India's Fugitive Economic Offenders Act. We have
Yes.
an Economic Offenders Act which allows the confiscation of all properties and assets of people who are charged in offences measuring over rupees 100 crore. 100 కోట్ల కన్నా ఎక్కువ అయితే and are evading prosecution by remaining outside the Indian jurisdiction has been a consuming affair for the Enforcement Directorate. So whoever has taken money more than 100 crores and evading and taking refugee అంటే వేరే దేశాల్లో दूसरा देश में जाके उधर अपने आप को like एक fugitive रूप में उधर ही they are like settling. So it has become a big challenge for our economic enforcement directorate. ED बोलता है enforcement directorate. So इसी के इस मामला में Nirav Modi concluded in London's Westminster Magistrates Court. This round of argument was held to determine the merit of a prima facie case of fraud and money laundering mentioned in the material supplied by the Indian government. After further hearing in November-December, a judgment is expected at the end of the year or early next year. Several points made in the Modi case are similar to those of Vijay Mallya's case. Indeed, the UK has over the years become the most preferred tax haven destination. You are right, Anil Garu. United Kingdom is like becoming very soft on these criminals, whoever is absconding from India. Lalit Modi, Nirav Modi, Sanjay Bhandari, Vijay Mallya, before being taken into custody by the ED, Yes Bank there is a bank called Yes Bank, Yes Bank.
Yes.
Founder Rana Kapoor was camping in London. Had an intricate entrapment by the Indian agencies, not succeeded in luring him back into India. He would have joined the list of fugitive financial fraudsters who are living in the high life in the United Kingdom. Among the hundreds of entities that the Sandesara brothers of the Sterling Biotech Group incorporated, many were in the UK, both British Virgin Island, among other places, they are hiding. All these businessmen facing charges are subjects of extradition effort by the Indian government to return to India to face charges of financial crimes. This is what exactly Dr. Kachaini madam is trying to explain it to you, that extradition laws, it has to be signed between countries, number one. If they are already signed, we have to ensure the political will in India, the political will in UK must match.
Yes.
Otherwise, things won't happen. So India and the UK signed an extradition treaty in 1992 itself.
Sir.
1992 में extradition treaty है, अभी तक है. फिर भी अभी जो बेचारा लोग इधर जो 1 लाख 2 लाख का आत्महत्या भी कर रहे लोग बिकॉज ऑफ बैंक हेरासमेंट्स. आप जो क्वेश्चन पूछा है बहुत सही पूछा है. सो बट मैडम का आंसर भी बहुत अच्छा आंसर दिया था मैडम ने. ये एक्स्ट्राडिशन ट्रीटीज को नंबर 1 साइन करना, नंबर 2 इम्प्लीमेंट करना, नंबर 3 political will of the two heads of the government or two heads of the state has to be in line. So that is where the problem is, Sri Anil Garu.
Okay, sir. Sure, sir. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions, please? Because Dr. Kachaini ma'am is ready to explain all, and also I'll try to give my own analysis also in between, so that it will be more interesting, not like a regular one-way lecture. So we have to make it more interactive. I can see many names. There are so many. I think now it is the time one female participant, maybe a teacher, one of the lecturers, female, has to ask. Please, this is your time. You have to ask. I can see Kavita Verma, Sarita, Manusani.
Good afternoon, madam.
Good afternoon.
Namaste, madam. Namaste.
Yes,
Yeah,
please.
please.
May I know a brief explanation about CA Act, Citizenship Amendment Act?
Okay, CAA is in regards to, again, the acceptance of various other religious communities or the minorities in our country, and they have it in regards to the citizenship rights. Though it has a positive idea to it, but it, again, in regards to current scenario, it has been negating various provisions of other religions, which are termed in minorities as well. So it is basically a widespread protest which is going on against the central government, that provision, like people from Pakistan, Afghanistan, and Bangladesh, and major Muslim countries are not part, or you can say they need to like look out for the rights, or you can say the background of their citizens of the country, in order to basically provide in citizenship to the illegal immigrants, you would say, rather say, who had entered India on or before, I think, 2014. It was allowed. It was in regards to the religion, that was the basic thing which was in question, because it discussed, it was actually passed for the migrants of various religions, such as, again, Sikh, Buddhists, Hindus, Parsis, Jains, and Christians, which are from various nations like Afghanistan, Bangladesh, and Pakistan. So it was
Okay, madam, are you
another
happy?
amendment act in 2019.
मैम मैं डाउट है,
Mhm.
अफगानिस्तान उधर से जो भी माइनॉरिटीज इधर आते ना उनको सिटीजनशिप देते, सो कंपलसरी इधर से उधर गए सो वाले फिर इधर आए तो सिटीजनशिप देते, नहीं तो उधर के ही कोई भी इधर आए तो सिटीजनशिप देते.
I
So
did not understand.
here actually madam, a citizenship act, so minorities, the migrant minorities, whoever come here, they are
Mhm.
giving the citizenship of our country, right?
Mhm.
So उधर पैदा
This is
हुआ के
basically regulation of citizenship.
मैम.
Actually, to
Okay.
determine the Indian citizen. I did not understand your
Okay,
question
thank you, ma'am.
until now. If you want to ask further, you can explain it further, actually.
No,
Okay,
she
okay,
understood,
ma'am.
madam. She understood. Madam understood. Next question, please. Next question. Preferably from faculty, female faculty, because we want to see more of them speaking up. Okay, anyone now? Anyone? Both.
Good afternoon, sir. My name is Hidayatullah Hussain from Adilabad, Vice 1, sir. Maths lecturer, sir.
Good afternoon, sir. Bolo, sir.
Sir, actually, the constitution is made to rule the India because in India we have different types of cultures. Okay, na, sir? So different types of religion persons we have. So different types of persons believe in different types of gods. So that's way, if we introduce the constitution, then the constitution gives only the one rule for all religions, sir. So according to religion base, why we are implementing CAA, sir? रिलीजन बेस के ऊपर से अपन हटने के वास्ते कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन को इम्प्लीमेंट करें ना सर?
समझ गया. हिदायतुल्लाह हुसैन साहब, राइट?
हाँ सर. तो एक्चुअली सर यहाँ पे अब CAA से अपने को एक कम्युनिटी के हिसाब से ही बाजुक सोच के ये इसमें कम्युनिटी फीलिंग, रिलीजन फीलिंग आ रही ना सर. अपन कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन इम्प्लीमेंट करें इसलिए के रिलीजन फीलिंग नहीं आना है ना सर?
ठीक है. We understand your question, and we appreciate the concern that you have shown, and we also share that concern of, we as Dr. Kachaini madam already said, we the people of India having solemnly resolved to constitute India into a sovereign, socialist, secular and democratic republic. Secular, it itself indicates that every religion is involved, and empowered and celebrated in India. हमारा जो भारत
Yes,
में
sir.
सारे जो धर्म का है सबका विकास, सबका
Yes.
all major religions, we are not theocratic like where one religion is the official state religion, right sir? So इस सिलसिले में क्यों आपको
Yes,
ऐसा
sir.
लग
Yes,
रहा है
sir.
CA का वजह से थोड़ा सा डिस्क्रिमिनेशन हो रहा है? Why only elevate one religion
हाँ,
and
हाँ.
make it
तो-
look
Yes, sir.
at,
Sir,
समझ गए सर, make it look as if that
Sir.
particular religion उसको क्यों ऐसे कर रहे हैं करके लग रहा है. So सर सही बात
हाँ,
है सर,
sir,
मैं
हाँ.
यही बोल रहा हूँ सर. अभी पॉलिटिकल लीडरशिप जो भी है, पॉलिटिकल लीडरशिप अपना अपना कितना भी बोलो आप, अपना अपना थोड़ा अपना पार्टी का थोड़ा सा इसमें, when they come to the government they have to forget the party issues, but when they are in party they have to forget the government in a sense that they have to have a clear
Yes, sir.
distinction between party's agenda and people's agenda. I mean, our national
Sir.
agenda. The national agenda must preside over the party agenda.
Sir.
है ना सर? पॉलिटिकल पार्टी से बहुत
Yes,
बड़ा
sir. हाँ, sir.
चीज क्या है? देश है, देश कंट्री. तो कंट्री से एजेंडा,
सही है,
कंट्री
सर,
के लिए कौन सी अच्छी है, कौन सी चीज आगे बढ़ना है, वो करना है. सो मे बी वो कंसर्न को मे बी आपके साथ मैं शेयर कर सकता हूँ, बट उसको डिप्लोमेटिकली वी हैव टू एंड आल्सो सोच समझ के वी हैव टू use that for all the religions to be part and parcel of our country. So we have to use our good sense to prevail over making everybody part and parcel of this nation building. Nation building एक धर्म से नहीं होता है, एक राज्य से नहीं होता है. सारे राज्य सरकार मिलके करने में, सारे धर्म मिलके जो करने में, वही ये नेशन बिल्डिंग होता है. सो मैं आपका जो क्वेश्चन समझा हूँ, आपका जो कंसर्न समझा हूँ, सो ये मेरा इसका जवाब है. Maybe Dr. Kachayani wants to add something, she can add.
Sir, actually, citizenship is a very crucial part while we talk about in our constitution. The Articles 5 to 11 talk about Indian citizenship. And earlier it was also a question while we discussed it before that whether before 1947, also while whoever belongs to India became the participants or the citizens of India, and whoever migrated from Pakistan to India were also called Indian citizens as well. So this is not very recent which we have come up. It was also the previously which we will discussed upon the citizenship law. So the new idea, again, on the basis of religion, it has come up, but the ideology or the basis of it is not actually being discriminatory against any religion in particular, but in order to ensure whether the person or the citizen is an Indian citizen or is an immigrant, that should be converted into an Indian citizen. So it is actually in order to ensure the Indian citizen and ensure the citizenship under Indian law or under the Indian constitution.
Thank you, madam. Next, anyone? Please, इतना अच्छा बहुत बढ़िया सवाल पूछ रहे हैं आप लोग. अभी तक 2-3 आदमी जो बात किया है, very relevant questions. So I encourage to speak up.
I also encourage people who are messaging me on the chat box, kindly raise your hands. We'll be happy to address you in person.
And madam will unmute your mic
because
so that you
there
can
are
speak up.
100 of questions right now on the chat box, and actually I'm not able to read throughout.
Yeah. Please cooperate. Raise your hand and ask question, please.
Good morning, ma'am. Myself, Kalyani.
Good morning.
Madam, I have a doubt. According to CAA, why is India turning its back on Rohingyas? Is there minorities to our India, right?
Okay, yeah. India did not turn its back to the immigrants from Rohingyas. It actually has acknowledged their entrance and actually have provided them with refuge. So providing a refuge status and providing a citizenship status is two different things.
Okay. Ma'am, CAA is only for minorities, or is in there another country citizens to come India?
So again, CAA is primarily for the minorities which were not recognized in citizens as citizens of India, which have come from these particular nations. As I have discussed prior to this, is Pakistan, Afghanistan, and there are religious minorities which have been included in this act.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am.
Yeah, I encourage all of you participants, please speak up.
Yes, any further questions? I'll be happy to address them as well.
If you have any doubts about yesterday's class also, you can ask, because I have been presenting there. So I also can answer, I myself can answer a few. Today's class and yesterday's class also, because yesterday it was mostly monologue. So I take this opportunity to.
No questions.
Okay, I can see Chinta Saujanya on screen. Syed
So there are,
Sanjeev,
yeah. So there are many
Farida
people who have
Begum.
raised hands, but yeah, they're not speaking up. Okay.
Ma'am,
Yes, please.
doubt regarding the surname of ladies. Sure. So as per in 10th certificate, we will have our surname with our father's surname. फिर शादी के बाद भी वही continue होना क्या?
So this is your discretion. It's not under any law that you are like forbidden or it is compulsory to change your surname. You can continue with whatever surname you want. You just need to have, if you are willing to change your surname or willing to add your surname after marriage or willing to continue your previous surname, you can always have just a notification in the newspapers if you are subject to change your surname. Otherwise, you can continue with your surname as well.
Thank you, ma'am.
We
Any
will
further
announce a
questions?
special. Yeah, we will announce a special gifts or special awards for those teachers who actively participate and also encourage other teachers to participate. See, with so much of pain and suffering, still we are doing it. So when we do it, let's do it with whole heart. Pura ekdam participatory. I request all the participants to also, talk to your colleagues and ask them to participate every day. Secretary sir and the team, Latif sir and our CHS, Center for Human Security Studies team, we are working around the clock. For the last 2 months, we have been planning and meeting and talking. So, aap janta hai, you yourself are leaders. Nothing comes easy. Very, very difficult to put things together. Connecting the dots. చాలా కష్టం కదా సో बहुत मुश्किल है connecting the dots, so we are doing that, so kindly make use of it. Yesterday also international level scholarships ka bare mein we have government of India, Israel, China, Japan, United States, Norway, Sweden, you know Greece, Turkey, Israel, all these countries, Australia. you may pursue right now online also or offline also once the pandemic gets over. So without spending a single rupee, you have the access to go abroad or send your children or your students abroad. So we'll help you with all that.
Sir, good afternoon, sir.
Yeah, very good. May I know your name, please?
My name is Venkateswar, sir, Zoology, Vikarabad Boys.
Babu, can you switch on the camera, please, if you don't mind? If it is possible. Yeah, very good, Venkatesh, please.
Sir, I want to ask a question to Madam, sir.
Yeah.
Sir, the political domination on bureaucracy or civil servants in our country, the how much of interference? Okay, that was to I want to ask this question.
So I would rather answer your question in a very informal way, rather not having a practical approach towards it. It relates to, again, the separation of powers between legislature, executive, and judiciary. So supremacy in regards to the executive and the legislation, this is what your question is about. Whether bureaucrats and the politicians, the lawmaking agencies how much they can interfere with the bureaucracy. So we do have a process called checks and balances in regards to the same. In not having a practical approach towards it right now, I will answering it in a very, very a bookish way rather, because as there is powers given to the legislators, that is the politicians that you are addressing it to, that they have to make the laws. And the bureaucrats are not supposed to make the laws, but rather implement the laws which are made by the legislators or the politicians. So there comes the power as well as the distribution of power between the two, and the checks and balances in regards to the same. Am I clear?
Yeah, Mr. Nasir. Now.
Yes, sir. Good morning, sir, and good morning, madam. But I am from Nasir Ali Khan. I am from Nasir Ali Khan from Adilabad, Boys 1. सर मैडम मेरा क्वेश्चन ये है कि इलेक्शन में कुछ सालों पहले तक बैलेट बॉक्स यूज किए थे, अभी ईवीएम मशीन यूज कर रहे हैं, क्या वापस बैलेट बॉक्स यूज कर सकते हैं क्या?
No, we are still at a few elections. We are still following up the ballot papers as well. Recently, I think MLC election came up, and we were following ballot paper procedure as well.
No, in our whole India, ma'am.
So again, ballot procedure is a tedious process. That is why they had switched to EVM machines.
Okay.
So this is again powered with the Election Commission of India, as in when required, they can switch to the procedures of the election system.
Why? Because we are using EVM machine. There is lots of problems there, ma'am. That's why we want to change that, and we want to use the ballot box.
Yeah.
Yes, ma'am.
Because ballot boxes, again, if you see, there is long hours involved in counting, and there is all of manual work. In regards to EVM machines, it is done in a few minutes only, the task.
Okay.
That is why there was a switch to EVM machines, as per my knowledge. Rest, it's the discretion of the Election Commission of India.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much.
Yeah, Mr. Ramesh Panna, Kagaz Nagar se. Sir.
Sir, good afternoon, everybody. I'm very much privileged to speak to you, sir. And this is very much informative. Not only, I think, lecturers, it may be leads for the students to guide their way. So I would like to ask one question, that we know the law, but in practical, it is invalid. See, the politicians who are illiterate, they lead the country. It happens. During election time, just they are distributing money and they're elected. They are being elected in our country. So we learn all the things, but one illiterate can lead the country means, so what is the suggestion, madam?
I could not follow your question in totality.
Can
Actually,
I,
just could
can I,
understand.
please?
can
Yeah,
I,
could I
I'll, Ramesh ji, I'll help.
could
Ramesh,
I, yes, okay.
I'll help. Ma'am, Mr. Ramesh sir is asking, see, I mean, in a nutshell, we can say, you know, it's also one of the concerns, like, you know, how politicians are actually mismanaging the affairs of the country, and then see and can't we have any remedy for that?
Okay, so you're
So-
learning all the things, but
It is a very sad question, like debatable question in regards to the same. Again, politicians are the legislators right now, and we are the ones who are electing them. And if again he's saying that we are buying, they are buying our votes in concerns to getting elected. So this is our failure of a democracy in its totality. That we are being bought to provide them vote and make them our leaders, and then question their leadership qualities as well.
Yeah, thank you, ma'am. I would like to add one more sentence to Mr. Ramesh's question. Ramesh ji,
okay, sir,
you know,
I'm listening.
I'm sure. What's your subject, sir? What's your subject?
I teach English.
English, okay. So political science में, you know, Plato, Aristotle का नाम सुना होगा आप, you know, especially
Yes, I
Plato.
know.
Plato
Pretty.
said, you know, the philosopher king. Philosophers and, you know, philosophers have to be the kings, in a sense that what does he mean? He mean people like you and me who have concern for the state affairs, who have really genuine concern for the affairs of the state, affairs of the people, affairs of the society. We have to become the rulers. When unless we go and rule people with like-mindedness, like whatever you know, concern that you have shown. So what will happen? People who are not really concerned about the affairs of the state, they're only concerned about they're using state as an alibi, as an instrument to achieve their personal gains. वो लोग जब सत्ता में आता है यही हाल होगा. इसलिए you and me, people like you and me, whoever is listening, educated people with good intentions, with good values, with good family values, moral, we have to get into politics. That's one of the ways to control, and also, you know, motivate people on those lines of not, you know, taking election voting easily or lightly, you know, not to sell their votes. So unless and until we do it, it's like, you know, is it the egg before or the chicken before kind of you know, dilemma. So now I can see Mallika madam. Mallika madam, please.
Yes, sir. Good afternoon, sir. Good afternoon, ma'am. First of
Good
all, thank you
afternoon,
for
Mallika.
giving me this opportunity. Sir, ma'am, I have a question, ma'am, about
Yes,
women crime, ma'am. Which act is considering, ma'am, disrespect with respect to women act, ma'am? Which act, ma'am? Can you explain? And how it is implementing, ma'am? Because of still now we are getting so many crimes on women, ma'am. So how they are implementing and which act is considering, ma'am?
Which act in concerns to what? I did not get you.
About women crime, ma'am.
Violence against women.
This respective of women, ma'am.
Women. So we
Yes,
have numerous provisions which are actually in protection of women as a weaker section to the society. The Constitution has also provided us with this strata that the state can make laws to actually protect women as a weaker section to the society. And if you're asking me in regards to protection from domestic violence, I have just clarified your question. I think you also wrote down on the chat box, that is a Protection of Women from Domestic Violence Act 2005. Then we have Dowry Prohibition Act. Then there is Immoral Trafficking Act, which describes again objectifying of women. Indecent Representation of Women Act. There are numerous acts in regards to the same. And we do have a few like sections of cruelty. We have family law. Regards to the same. That is completely pro-woman. If you are asking me about a particular crime, then you can ask and I will elaborate the act in regards to the same.
Like IPC 320, like so many acts are
Yeah,
there.
again, I said
So
that act.
especially for girls child, ma'am. Especially for girls child, ma'am.
Yes,
Still
we
now
do
it
have
is going on.
POSCO
So
right
how-
now, Protection of Children from Sexual Offences Act. That is particularly for little kids and little children, especially sexual offences related to children. Then we have Juvenile Justice Act also.
Okay, ma'am. Okay, ma'am. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you, Mallika garu. Mallika
Thank
madam.
you
Thank
so
you.
Mallika. Okay, ma'am.
Next, please. Next, another 7 minutes. We have about 1:10. So another 7 minutes. Dr. Kachani madam ko sab, you all have to congratulate her for 2 hours of speaking. I think, as a teacher, you know
Thank
how
you,
difficult
sir.
it is, right?
So I was not able to complete my lecture actually.
Yeah.
Good afternoon.
I can see Srikanth, JL, English, JL, Maheshwar, Rizwan,
Good afternoon,
Begum, Ashok.
Good afternoon, sir.
Yeah. Please introduce yourself, Rajpal.
Sir, my name is Rajpal, JL Telugu Armor Boys only.
తెలుగులో మాట్లాడండి మీరు తెలుగులో మాట్లాడండి బాగుంటుంది.
ఓకే సార్. సార్ మనము బెయిల్ అప్లై చేస్తాం కదా సార్, అసలు బెయిల్ అంటే ఏంటి? ఆ బెయిల్ ఏ పరిస్థితిలో మనము అంటే శిక్ష పడుతున్నప్పుడా లేక పడ్డ తర్వాత మనం అప్లై చేసుకుంటాం కదా, ఏ పర్పస్ లో ఇస్తారు సార్? దాని యొక్క ఉద్దేశం ఏంటి సార్? బెయిల్.
Okay. You can translate now into English to madam. Rajpal garu, English lo adigandi madam. What is the purpose
Okay,
behind?
Sir, what is the mean by bail? Some cases we have to apply for the bail. What purpose we have apply to bail?
So
Why there is a provision?
categories. Okay, so there are two. So bail is primarily provided under Code of Criminal Procedure. So Code of Criminal Procedure is a substantial, it is a procedural law to the substantial law of the Indian Penal Code, right? So bail is another way. So if we talk about offenses, there are two kinds of offenses. Firstly, cognizable, and secondly, non-cognizable. The cognizable ones are the ones who are actually, which are non-bailable offenses, which are actually graver crimes or have the crimes which are of higher intensity or higher value other than petty crimes, which are non-cognizable. So bail is another provision which is provided for those offenses which are non-cognizable. Correct? There are many crimes which come under the provisions of bail. The primary, like for example, bail is like to procure the release of the person basically from the legal custody, right? That the person should be able to designate himself and subject himself to the jurisdiction of the court, but also can come out of the legal custody, right? So the code actually defines offenses into bailable as well as non-bailable. जो serious offenses है वो punishable है, or maybe for example जो punishable 3 साल से ज्यादा की punishable, it is this categorization. जो 3 साल से ज्यादा punishable है वो non-bailable आते हैं, और जो in contrast जो less serious होते हैं crimes वो bailable होते हैं, and they are less cognizable comparatively to the non-cognizable.
Okay.
So does it make something clear to you?
Okay.
In a few cases, bail could be interpreted as a matter of right, but in many cases it is not. It is a matter of right.
Next question.
Yes,
మేడం,
please.
ఇప్పుడు మనకి డ్రంక్ అండ్ డ్రైవ్ ఉంటుంది కదా, మనము బైక్ నడిపించేటప్పుడు హెల్త్ చూస్తారు. రెండవది యాక్సిడెంట్ చేయకుండా ఉండడం కోసం మనకు డ్రంక్ అండ్ డ్రైవ్ అంటే మందు తాగారా లేదా టెస్ట్ చేస్తారు కదా. ఆ టెస్ట్ చేయడం వల్ల మనకి ఏంటంటే తాగి నడపడం అనేది ప్రమాదకరం కాబట్టి ఓకే చేస్తున్నారు. బట్ ఎలక్షన్ టైంలో మనకి డబ్బు పంచుతున్నారు, మందు కూడా పంచుతున్నారు కదా, ఆ టైంలో ఎందుకు టెస్ట్ చేయట్లేదు? వై డిడ్ నాట్ టెస్ట్ ఇన్ ద ఓటింగ్ టైం ఆల్కహాల్ టెస్ట్?
Right.
So can you convert?
Yeah, Dr. Kachani, what Mr. Rajpal sir is asking is, as usual, we have so many drunk and drive tests being done on a normal day, especially an extraordinary day like elections. During elections, why the government is not proactively doing number of tests for drunk and drive and other issues, because that is the time where most of the hera-fairy happens.
That is subjective to interpretation in this clause.
Okay.
Again, this is a debatable thing.
I know, I can understand. Thank you, Kachani. And then we have two more maybe questions. Dr. Kachani, is it okay? Two more questions?
Yes, please, sir. No problem.
Yeah. You have been so patient. Thank you very much, Dr. Kachani.
You're most welcome.
Please,
sir.
next.
It is my honor.
Next. Thank you. Next.
Good afternoon, ma'am.
Good afternoon.
Please you introduce yourself and camera on so that madam also can see you. Madam.
Good afternoon, madam.
Good afternoon, ma'am.
Yes, please. Good afternoon.
Yes, ma'am.
This is Potanna from Kanap.
Sorry.
Hello, good afternoon, madam.
పోతున్న గారు ఒక్క నిమిషం ఆగండి. ఒక లేడీ ప్రొఫెసర్ గారు అడుగుతున్నారు, ఆ తర్వాత మీరు అడగండి సార్.
Okay.
Yeah, good afternoon, ma'am.
Good afternoon. Yes, Aisha.
Yes, ma'am. I cannot switch on my camera.
No problem. Please proceed.
Yeah. So my question is related with the Malika ma'am. She asked about children and women's protection, right? So
Okay.
I just wanted to like some Arabic countries or other countries, they have very strict rules and laws regarding this women's and children protection. So why can't we upgrade our laws, and why can't we adopt such strict laws just like they do? One question. And the other question, I wanted to know about a mercy killing. What is and just think about mercy killing, whether our laws accept mercy killing, or there are any laws regarding mercy killing. That's it, ma'am. Two questions. I have two questions.
So firstly, your first question, that is in regards to protection of women in comparison to having stricter laws. We have already made our laws much more stringent and much more strict after the Nirbhaya case. And as and when we compare ourselves with other countries like Arabic countries, where they have very strict laws in regards to punishment, like persecution of the people who actually commit crimes upon women. In that regard, in our society, we are more open society. And secondly, the procedure established by law talks about a fair trial. That is, the person who is being convicted upon, who is being accused of doing a crime, is should be liable to having a fair trial, which the other countries do not follow. So the procedure which our constitution follow is again a fair trial, which is ensured before actually giving the punishment to the offender of any offense, be it any offense related to women and children. Even though now the law has become more stringent, and there are debates in regards to the same, that why does this law has become more stringent, that the punishments have increased in comparison to the before the Nirbhaya case happened. And the second thing you asked was about euthanasia. So right now, there was a huge debate whether euthanasia or mercy killing, that is a good death or a quick death, which is in the literal meaning of euthanasia is that. So there are three segments to mercy killing. Basically, first is like an assisted suicide, or you can say assisted killing, or second is in regards to intentionally killing a person, or thirdly, it is like ending a life support system in order to relieve the pain and suffering from the person. So in India, we have allowed that part only. That termination of a life or person who is actually in pain and suffering, and that person can be removed from the you can say the incubator system or the life support system. It is called, again, there is one is voluntary euthanasia and second is involuntary or passive euthanasia. So active euthanasia and passive euthanasia are two differences, examples to it. This is what I have discussed right now. In active euthanasia, there is, again, intentional killing is involved with the consent of the patient, or involuntary without the consent of the patient, maybe for an incurable disease. And passive euthanasia is like, again, withdrawing the life support system. For example, if active euthanasia and I inject some poison into the body of the person who is incurable, that is active euthanasia. And the second is passive euthanasia, that is by removing the life support system or any incubation, which is making the person alive, but otherwise is his condition is like a vegetative condition. So in our country, only passive euthanasia is allowed right now. That is removing the life support system. So this is in relation to Article 21, that is right to life and liberty, that now it includes that earlier we used to say right to die is not covered under right to Article 21, but now it is allowed in a few cases. That is again subjective to facts and circumstances of each case.
Thank you, Dr. Kache. Next, last question, please.
Thank you so much. I hope I could address your question. Yes, any further questions, please, most welcome.
Good afternoon, madam. This is Potanna.
Yes, please. Yes, good afternoon.
This is Potanna, JN in English from Kanapur.
Hi.
పోతన్న గారు ఒక్క నిమిషం. పోతన్న గారు మీ పేరు పోతన్నా?
Yes, శనిగారపు పోతన్న.
అంటే మన మహాకవి పోతన్న గారి పేరు మీద పెట్టిందేనా?
యా సార్.
వెరీ గుడ్, వెరీ
యా సార్.
కాదు, మనకి అది ఇంపార్టెంట్ కదా, పోతన్న, తిక్కన్న, నన్నయ్య, ఎర్రన్న. బట్ మీరు ఇంగ్లీష్ కాబట్టి నాట్ తెలుగు బట్ ఇంగ్లీష్ లిటరేచర్.
యా సార్, యా.
Good.
Sir, may I know, madam,
yes,
how many days does it take to get the bail?
How many
days does it take to get the bail?
To get the bail, it is again depending upon facts and circumstances of each case. It depends upon, again, the facts and circumstances of each case and upon the hearing of the offense. And it is like a completely discretionary for the court to decide. And if you are talking about an anticipatory bail, then again, it has 45 days of its procession. That is in regards to if you are apprehensive or you are thinking that you could be getting arrested. So there is a provision called anticipatory bail, and under section 438 of CRPC, this is Criminal Procedural Code.
Yeah, thank you, madam.
Otherwise, bail, which is as a matter of right in a few cases, is until and unless there is an investigation within 24 hours, then it has to be guaranteed. And 90 days are a period for a provision for basically bail to be provided at least.
There is no maximum and minimum days of.
Again, maximum and minimum is like 60 to 90 days is the bare minimum. Otherwise, if there is no investigation happening within 24 hours, then it is a matter of
Excuse
right.
me, madam.
Sorry?
Hello, madam. Hello, madam. Recently, one
madam.
person was arrested in our area who is the Panchayat secretary
Okay.
in Nirmal, madam. So he was arrested 50 days before. So still he did not get the bail. So how can we get the bail?
So firstly, I would recommend you to have a charge sheet, like what are the charges against him. That would decide whether that offense he committed was bailable or non-bailable.
Yeah.
So that would actually depend his bail, whether the offense he did was bailable offense or not, non-bailable. And thereafter, once the investigation is done, then whether the person is eligible for bail or not, it is the court to decide.
Madam,
ये
his
अकबर खान बात कर रहे
prohibition.
हैं, आसिफ नगर बॉयज वन से
Madam.
अकबर खान बात कर
Yes.
रहे हैं.
Sorry, I did not get you.
Madam,
Yeah.
his prohibition period is not incompleted. The person who is recently arrested, his prohibition period is not completed. Actually, he is a Panchayat secretary. So whether he get the job back or not,
I
is
did
there
not
any chance?
job.
Madam, actually he is a Panchayat secretary
Okay.
who is in our area, and he was arrested by ACB recently, and 50 days period is completed. So if he get the bail, whether his job is guaranteed or not.
He can
Prohibition
restate
period is not
again.
completed.
Again, it depends upon the criminal offense which he has committed, and whether that provision is permissible according to the conduct rules of the services or not.
Okay,
Government
thank you,
services.
Thank you. Thank you.
It depends upon the offense, the gravity of offense he has committed.
Excuse me, madam. वो मेरा नाम अकबर खान है.
हाँ जी.
मैं जेल मैस में हूँ. तो मेरा पूछना ये है, जैसे कि हमारे को 1 महीने में इतना सिलेबस कंप्लीट करना, 1 साल में कंप्लीट करना, उनके हमारे को एक टारगेट देते, तो उसी तरह से लास्ट में भी ये ला इतने दिन में खत्म होना बोल के ऐसा कुछ है क्या? कैटेगरीज ऑफ लॉ है क्या?
एक्चुअली लॉ बहुत ही वास्ट और बड़ा सब्जेक्ट है, एक सब्जेक्ट नहीं है. लॉ हर एक टाइप
केस
का
के बारे में पूछ रहा हूँ.
सब्जेक्ट
केस के
कवर
बारे में
करता
पूछ
है.
रहा हूँ मैं. एक केस है,
हाँ जी?
1 महीना, एक केस के बारे में पूछ रहा हूँ मैं. एक केस 4 महीने चल रहा, 6 महीने चल रहा, 4 साल चल रहा, 14 साल चल रहा, वो कुछ लिमिट है क्या नहीं है, उसके बारे में पूछ रहा हूँ मैं.
जी,
जैसे कि
मिलती
हमारे
है.
क्या बोलते हैं,
जुडिशियल ऑफिसर्स को लिमिट्स मिलती हैं टू डिस्चार्ज विद देयर कमिटमेंट्स एंड डिस्चार्ज विद द कोर्ट केसेस. उनका भी टारगेट सेट होते हैं पर डे के हिसाब से कि उनको इतने केस आज सुनने हैं, हियरिंग द केसेस. एंड कुछ
जैसे कि
केसेस तो जैसे कुछ केसेस जो फास्ट ट्रैक चलते हैं, उनको तो कुछ स्पेशलेटेड टाइम में ही उनको खत्म करना होता है. और
जैसे
कुछ
कि
केसेस
कितने के
जिनको
criminals
हियरिंग
वो
चाहिए.
असेंबली में चले गए, पार्लियामेंट में चले गए, तो उनका कुछ भी, अब हम पूछे क्रिमिनल है तो वो साबित नहीं हुआ बोलते, तो वो कितने साल कुछ लिमिट है क्या नहीं है, वो
सबकी
पूछना चाह रहा
लिमिट
हूँ.
कैसे हो सकती है ना. हियरिंग फेयर ट्रायल का मतलब ही ये है कि सारी
और
दोनों साइड
जैसे
की
कि
सुननी है.
इंडिया में जजेस की कमी है, तो हु इज रेस्पॉन्सिबल फॉर दैट? हु इज ऑब्जर्वर ऑफ द कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन ऑफ इंडिया इन इंडिया? दैट इज व्हाट आई एम आस्किंग.
You're asking who is responsible for
implementation of constitution of India in India.
implementation? तो एग्जीक्यूटिव ही है, ब्यूरोक्रेसी ही है जो इम्प्लीमेंट
जैसे
करती
कि
है हमारी लॉज को.
पूरे करप्टेड भर्ती हो गए असेंबली में, पूरा पार्लियामेंट में, तो उनको कौन देखना,
वो
कौन
तो
बोलना,
हमने ही
कुछ
इलेक्ट
लिमिट है
किया
नहीं है
ना.
उनका केस का कुछ
वो
लिमिट
तो
है नहीं है.
हमने ही खुद से बनाए हैं वहां पे जो बिठाए हैं पार्लियामेंट में.
तो ड्यूरेशन कुछ भी
उनको
नहीं है,
आपने ही
जजमेंट का
इलेक्ट किया
ड्यूरेशन
है
कुछ भी नहीं
अपना
है.
प्रेशियस वोट देकर.
एक केस का ड्यूरेशन ऑफ जजमेंट नहीं है, इसका मतलब कब तक भी चलते रहता है. असेंबली में बैठ गया 5 साल बेफिक्री होने, पार्लियामेंट में बैठ गया 5 साल बेफिक्री,
कोई नहीं पूछेगा उसको, जो अपोजिशन का है उसको डाल दो जेल में पकड़ के, क्वेश्चन ऑफ सेट्स लेके कुछ भी एक लगा के उसको।
Akbar Khan sir, maybe we have to introduce recall method of recall maybe.
बोलिए सर बोलिए।
Okay, next sir, next please. Last question. Too many hands raised. Maybe shall we give opportunity to the lady professor there, Sarita? Madam Sarita.
Good morning, good afternoon, sir. Good afternoon, ma'am.
Yes, good afternoon.
Ma'am, already one sir asked about reservations. You told that for backward communities, backward categories, they have given reservations at that time in 1950s. Dr. B.R. Ambedkar wrote this constitution according to this 334 and 335. Reservations are there in Lok Sabha and assemblies and in jobs and education also. Is it no, ma'am? 334 and 335 articles.
I did not understand you. What are you trying to say? What is your question?
About reservations, ma'am.
Okay.
In 1950, Dr. B.R. Ambedkar said in the constitution that up to 10 years that will implemented. Up to 10 years only.
Since then, every 10 years they have upgraded it to 10 years, another 10 years.
Yes, many amendments they did, and they are continuing these reservations. But according to that 1950 situation, that is correct to give reservations for backward communities and backward categories. But now after independence, after this constitution, 70 years over now, this is 1920, that already what happened means opposite happened. Already that backward communities got forward, but
not all backward communities.
Not all backward communities, not all, but most of the people, they came forward. But is it correct, ma'am, to continue these reservations by keeping these amendments and giving reservations?
Question so far. Again, whether reservation should be continued or not continued, whether it is like a political game which these parliamentaries are playing just to encourage vote bank.
Rather that we can give reservations. We can give reservations according to that income wise. For poor people, we can give no, ma'am.
We already had EWS, economically weaker section society. It is another introduction to the reservation.
Yes,
So
some percentage is there.
Developing towards,
but completely
until unless there is complete eradication of our caste system, it could not be done with. We are still in the vicious circle of the caste for what the backward classes have been suffering. If you ask my opinion, I agree with your question that reservation is again a very, very questionable thing here. That because due to reservation, our country is not flourishing as well. It should have been flourished otherwise. But considering the facts and circumstances that there are many groups of people, there are many classes and castes which are yet to be put forward, which are actually being discriminated until now in our society. So
yes, some are there.
The moment the positioning when we eradicate the caste system, the moment we will be removing the reservation clause as well. The vicious cycle of caste is still pursuant.
Thank you, Dr. Kachayani. Thank you very much. Last question, if you don't mind. Sainath, sir. Last question, sir, for the day, because it's already 1:30.
Yes, please, sir.
Hello.
Hello. Yes, please.
Madam. Good afternoon, madam.
Good afternoon.
Madam, before going to ask my question, I want to tell you one thing.
Yes,
please. ఇంతకు ముందు సరిత మేడం చెప్పినట్టు రిజర్వేషన్లు అవసరమా 10 years ఒకసారి చెప్పడం అంటున్నారు కదా. సొసైటీలో ఫైనాన్షియల్ స్టేటస్ పెరిగింది కానీ సోషల్ స్టేటస్ ఇంకా పెరగలేదు. సోషల్ స్టేటస్ లో ఏమాత్రం మార్పు రాలేదు. ఇంకా అట్టడుగు వర్గాల్లో అదే సోషల్ స్టేటస్ అదే రన్ అవుతుంది కనుకనే రిజర్వేషన్ ని కంటిన్యూ చేయాల్సిన పరిస్థితి వస్తుంది అని నా ఒపీనియన్. ఫైనాన్షియల్ స్టేటస్ కొంచెం పెరిగింది బిలో కేటగిరీస్ లో ఉన్నటువంటి క్యాండిడేట్స్, కానీ సోషల్ స్టేటస్ లో మాత్రం ఏ మాత్రం మార్పు రాలేదు. అప్పర్ క్యాస్ట్ అప్పర్ క్యాడర్ లో ఉన్నటువంటి వాళ్ళు అదే స్టేటస్ లో ఉన్నారు, లోయర్ క్యాడర్ లో ఉన్నటువంటి వాళ్ళు అదే క్యాడర్ లో ఉన్నారు. వాళ్ళని ఇప్పటి వరకు కూడా రెస్పెక్టబుల్ గా ట్రీట్ చేసేటువంటి పరిస్థితి లేదు. అందుకే ఈ రిజర్వేషన్ కంటిన్యూ అవుతున్నాయి అనుకుంటున్నాను నేను ఇప్పటికీ. ఆ సోషల్ స్టేటస్ ఫైనాన్షియల్ స్టేటస్ రెండు కూడా ఈక్వల్ అయినప్పుడు ఈ రిజర్వేషన్స్ అవసరం లేదు. ఇట్స్ మై ఒపీనియన్ మేడం. ఓకే, అండ్ ఐ వాంట్ టు ఆస్క్ యూ వన్ క్వశ్చన్. Please, can you explain about the cow's ladder?
Sorry?
Cow's ladder, according to Constitution.
Sorry?
Cow's ladder, Govada.
I did not understand that word.
Dr.
Cow
Kachani,
slaughter, madam.
Cow slaughters are happening, right?
Cow slaughters.
Yeah.
Yes, according to Constitution, cows. Can you explain about the cow slaughter? Because some religions, they are not accepting this, and some religions they are doing as a formality, religious formality. So which one we can accept?
So again, cow slaughtering is infringement of right to freedom of religion or practice your religion. And also cow slaughtering comes under PETA Act, which is again in like prevention of
ethical treatment, maybe
ethical treatment to the animals. So again, your question pertains that whether a few religious practices allows that slaughter of a few does not allow. To answer this question, whether is it a right to practice such a prohibition of cow slaughter is a part of Constitution? Yes, it is, because again, even our directive principle of state policy of Article 48 talks about that that the state will ensure to organize animal husbandry on scientific lines and take steps in order to preserve various breeds and prevention. And it specifies that there should be prohibition for the slaughtering of cows, calves, and milk-draught cattle, basically. So the article again in regards to religion, when it comes to picture, is that in our Indian Constitution, Muslim members were actually cow-eating Muslims or Hindus who actually treat the cow as the god. It is a part of their religion. It is again in even Indira Gandhi, there was MK Gandhi, there was another debate in this regards, whether this debate in using cows and slaughtering cows is relevant. Again, thereafter, if you talk about slaughtering of cows as a religion basis, it is prohibited under Article 48 as well. So what is your exact question? Whether it is there as a religious practice, it is prohibited as a religious practice as well.
Dr. Kachani, thank you. Dr. Kachani, thank you very much. I think there are certain limitations to our time also. I appreciate all the participants for today. Tomorrow we have Dr. Suresh Kumar talking about local governance, state governance, and center-state relations. Very, very important again. And after that, 12 to 1, Dr. A.K. Srinivas sir, PhD in management from University of Hyderabad and former Indian Air Force Wing Commander, is speaking on leadership and management. So I request all the faculty, you have been very active, participating. We should not forget one thing, that there are always questions on our minds about what to be done, what not to be done, which practice to be followed, which practice not to be followed. Anyway, this particular forum is not a debating forum. This particular forum is making it more interactive session of empowering, expanding, and educating ourselves. So I think we should keep that on mind. I request each one of you to tell your colleagues to participate in more numbers. And I wish and pray all of you very good health. During this pandemic times, we have to stand united, and we have to stand as as an important force to reckon with. So you have dealt almost about 150 minutes of non-stop continuous engagement with the faculty. Dr. Kachani, Junior Sharma, I am extremely thankful to you, and also all the participants for your patience, for your valuable questions and participation. So tomorrow, see you at 11 o'clock. Please prepare well, and questions also. Central state relations, number 1, and local and state governance. This is one lecture, 11 to 12. Dr. Suresh Kumar, faculty from Dr. MCR HRD Institute, Hyderabad, and Dr. A.K. Srinivas sir, former Indian Air Force Wing Commander and PhD in Management from University of Hyderabad, Center for Human Security Studies, head on management. So these two people will be interacting with you and sharing their thoughts with you tomorrow. Until then, thank you very much. Keep praying and keep fighting coronavirus. I wanted to thank each and everyone, not forgetting Mr. Latif sir, academic head, and also our Mr. Shafiullah sir, our Honorable Secretary, TMREAS. Thank you very much. Thank you, Dr. Kachani.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you all of you for having me. It was a wonderful interaction. Be safe.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you.
Bye-bye.